Hi guys. I am going to talk to you today about making some fun, spontaneous sketches in your sketchbook with marker and pen. A couple of simple items. Um, Here's one I've done already. So the idea is that you sketch sort of random shapes with marker, and then go in with pen and find a form within them. These all to me became they started out as blobs, just yellow blobs, and they became like animals. So that's where this one kind of went. I did another one. This was, I think, kind of around Halloween time, so they all became sort of skeletons or bones. Got kind of a plague doctor mask here. In this page, they became reptile-like creatures, except for this guy. He's got some hair. I guess he's not technically a reptile. They're a lot of fun to do. I sometimes do these myself, and sometimes I'll, make the blobs and hand them off to somebody, and they'll finish them. See, these ones were little kind of mermaid-like creatures. They're a lot of fun to do, and like I said, fun to do with a friend. If you start the sort of part where you make the shapes and hand it off to your friend, they can finish the drawing for you and come up with something really interesting, or you can do it all yourself. I find this is just a simple exercise. Helps me think about color. It also, is just a way to be spontaneous in your sketchbook. So I've got a number of tools with me here that I'm going to draw with today. These are all alcohol markers, and I chose some colors that were in a similar hue to one another. I've got some, I guess, a range from like blue-green to a more yellow-green here. If you were talking about what kind of color scheme this would be, I would have to say this is really an analogous color scheme, because these colors would be next to each other on the color wheel. So you could pick random colors, but I like, more often than not to do the same color or pick colors that are next to each other on the color wheel for something like this. I also have a black ink pen. This is a waterproof pen. This is a Uniball. I like it a lot for drawing like this. It's waterproof, so if you accidentally spill something on it, you won't mess up your drawing. And then I've got a white milky pen that I'm gonna use to add some details maybe at the end. So the first part is pretty spontaneous. You select your colors and you start, I don't know if there's a better way to say it than making blobs. You just start making some blobs. So I'm gonna make some blobs and see what happens. Say, like, kind of try to fill up the page with your different blobs. I'm not sure what my blobs are going to be at this point. They're just blobbing away. Okay. Hopefully, at some point during this process, like, the colors and shapes are going to give you an idea of what you might turn these into. Like I said, if you're going to pass this off to somebody else too, you might just be making some challenging blobs and then challenging someone else to come up with a way to turn these into something else. The more you kind of build up these markers, the more opaque they become. I like to kind of layer them on top of themselves. So I get a nice opaque. I don't know. It never feels quite, I think opaque is the wrong way to say it. I guess it's almost like watercolor to me. Like, it's a little irregular, but at the same time, I don't see a lot of streaks. I guess that's what I'm after, not seeing a lot of streaks. I don't mind like the sort of mottled look that I get, but maybe I just don't want a bunch of streaks in it. I felt like this green next to this green might be too much, so I just decided to scoot it over here. Make a long one over here. And give it some nubs at the top. And if you keep layering, you can get that more regular inside. I feel like this one maybe needs another protrusion or two to be different than some of the other blobs. I'm gonna give it a little arm off of the first arm I made. Maybe another one. Who knows what it will be. It's gonna have some little pointy things coming off of it. Okay. Ooh. Starting to feel these colors. Ooh, this one's a lot lighter, so let's see what we're gonna get here. Maybe something to fit in here. Maybe something longer. A good thing about this process too, you know, you can't really overthink it. You just gotta be spontaneous and make a shape. And kind of deal with what happens. I think, you know, as long as you're thinking about interesting ways to fill up the whole page, and if you unify the page with color, you know, you're gonna get something that feels at least quasi-coherent. I think I'm liking with this little protrusions that were coming off the other one, so I'm gonna kind of give this one some of those too. Maybe one up here. One bigger one down here. Okay. All right, so I've run out of colors. I kind of feel like this one maybe is my favorite color, and I want to bring a little bit more of this down here. So let me see if I can do that. Maybe something more irregular too. Give it a long, sort of narrow thing coming out of it, I guess. Maybe a shorter one over here. Okay. Now comes trying to figure out what to turn these guys into. You kind of just have to really look at them and sort of let your imagination decide like what it is that you're seeing. I kind of feel like this could be like some kind of seal. This could be like some kind of maybe mask, I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing a nose, little leaves coming off of it or something. The color palette definitely makes me think of leaves or water. So I'm gonna start sketching and see what I can come up with. Again, you can't worry too much here. You've just got to be spontaneous. I'm kind of trying to make something like a nose for this mask, but make it almost like it's made out of a twig. I like the idea of this becoming like some kind of mask for some kind of woodland spirit. Something out of a Miyazaki film, or like a Korok from Zelda. Decide what kind of mouth I want to put on this thing. I don't want it to look too scary. I kind of go with like maybe the shape that I had around the eyes and add something like some little teeth in here. Continue adding some more bark texture. I feel like I need to give it like a shadow around the edge to make it feel like it's got some weight. Okay, there's my maybe creepy wooden mask. Let's see, what am I gonna turn this guy into? I don't know, this little piece feels maybe like a wing to me. Some kind of little bird. Just turning it into a very tranquil looking bird. Something like a toucan beak, I don't know. There's his little leg. I feel like I want to give him another wing back here. You can build off the form, it's your drawing. You get to choose what's in here. Okay, so I've got a little bird, got a mask. What else can we do? Maybe some kind of little caterpillar guy. Become one of those little hairy caterpillars. I got the feeling that the bottom part of the tail would overlap the top part of the body, so I moved down to draw that first. Sometimes caterpillars have these kind of spots on the side of their bodies. Lots of bugs sometimes have, I don't know, markings that when you look at them from the right angle, they look like eyes, especially butterflies, right? They've got these little marks on them that look kind of like eyes, so birds think that maybe they're a bigger creature, a predator looking at them or something, so they leave them alone and don't eat them. My caterpillar's covered in those, I guess. Something fancy over here. Okay, let's see what else. This guy reminds me of an avocado. I'm having a really hard time getting past the idea of an avocado. Maybe another type of, since it was like the first thing I see, for some reason I don't want to draw it. Do you know what I mean? Like I want it to be more original than just the avocado shape that popped first into my mind. I'm going to challenge myself maybe to see something else in it. So I'm going to try to do an owl with really big eyes. Tail feathers coming down. It's okay if these things don't look like any real owl out in the world. I'm just playing around and seeing what I can figure out with my imagination. Give it some texture. punctures on the wing. I want to give it like a beak of some kind. Give it a little hairdo. Some feet. Just because I feel like it needs it, maybe just a little branch coming through. Makes me want maybe another mask up here to balance off this mask that's on the bottom. Maybe I'll add another weird nose. I want to make something maybe that looks like it could have been made by the same culture, but it's different. I feel like if these were real masks, they would just kind of like almost like pick up a piece of wood and look at it for a really long time to figure out what kind of shape to carve into it. I'm gonna give this one a different facial expression. Maybe I'll go with the thicker line again to make a shadow. Okay. This guy feels just like some kind of ocean creature to me, but I kind of feel like everything else I have here is more foresty, so I'm trying to think of how I might approach that. Maybe he's like some kind of lazy creature, something sloth-like, I don't know. These little weird things coming off of his head. Let me give him like a branch or something too, because I feel like he's dangling down. Like he's sleeping or something. Becoming a little bit more like a weird panda at this point, I think. I'll go with that. Alright. So I've got also this white pen. This gives me an opportunity to go back and find some places in the work maybe that I want to highlight. Maybe I want to bring this pen into my caterpillar's face a little bit and find him some little bright eyes. The pen is just really good for going back and finding some small details that you'd like to highlight. And like find some areas where you want to push your contrast a little bit. Again, you know, it's important to just be spontaneous and try stuff out. See what happens. right, so here is my intuitive, spontaneous kind of blob drawing. I've got a bunch of, I don't know, maybe forest creatures that feel sort of invented. Some masks that maybe could have been made by people who live in that forest, or creatures that live in that forest. So anyway, I hope you will give this a try and come up with some spontaneous blob drawings of your own. Don't be shy about coming back in and, you know, filling in some areas if you want them to be a little bit more full at the end. All right. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing what you guys do. Bye.